Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast, presented by the Fantasy Football World Championship, home to the industry's most accurate rankings.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host, as always. You can find me at Adam _Krautwurst on the X. And with me tonight is Jerry Daly Double. Bryant, what is up, my friend? How's it going?
Good. Looking forward to it.
That's right. Wednesday's a business day, right? Working. We got work all day. We got waivers all night, right? A little podcast in the middle.
Yeah, I work a lot harder on waivers than I do at work.
Shh! Don't. Hopefully, the boss isn't listening. You know what I mean? Maybe you are the boss.
It's wearing me out, man. I can't do this many leagues again. There's no way. The waivers are killing me.
The waivers kill you. I know. So I guess I should ask too. Do you get I already know what the answer to this question is, but when you get towards the end of the year, you got some 2-8 teams or something. Do they kind of hit the sideline there? You just kind of set those lineups, or are you still grinding those?
No, I go the whole year. I know. Yo it to the rest of the league. Of course, if I had 150 leagues, I might be different. But
right.
If I'm 0-10, I'm going to keep fighting every week because they need somebody needs you to win a game, right?
Yeah, so Got to keep them honest. Got to keep them honest for sure. And a lot of times too, like if you go look, like on FFWC, you go look, it tells you like what place you are, but that place is the standings, right? Like it's not the points. Like there's a lot. Like I have a team that's 1-4, and I'm second in the league in scoring, and like that team's in the playoffs. But you wouldn't know it by looking at that main screen. You know what I mean? So
at some point they start putting those little tickers next to your team name that let you know you're in the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I've got 1-4, and third in points, something like that. So
got to keep hanging on. But let's dig in. Let's do some week 6 preview here. Just finished week 5. I can't freaking believe we're in week 6 already. It feels like yesterday you and I were hanging out at the Circa in Vegas for the opening night game, right?
Yeah, I had Christian Watson first touchdown of the game, and he dropped 2 of them.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. You were not happy about that for sure. But hey, this week's Thursday night game. Let's jump in on this here. I'm excited. Week 6 should be lots of high over-unders here, but we're talking San Francisco, Seattle this Thursday. Big game for the Seahawks. Niners just blow 1-2. Jordan Mason still running the rock there. CMC not back yet. They say between weeks, maybe like 7 and 10 or something like that. So what do you got? What do you got for the Seahawks? What are you thinking, Jerry? Let me find the over under here. 47.5. So nice, pretty high scoring game here. What are you thinking?
Seattle's a weird team. They were dominated against the Giants. I mean, I was shocked. It wasn't even a game, really. I mean, the score didn't indicate how the Giants just totally dominated that game. And, the week before, Seattle gave Detroit everything they could take. So, man, I never know about Seattle. It's the same old guy. Quarterback for Seattle's on pace to rush for like 500 yards this year. I don't know if people's noticed he's got a lot of rushing yards.
Geno, he's had a lot of garbage time stats. Like I remember 2 weeks ago, I needed him in a game. I have a lot of Geno Smith, and he was just chunk yards after chunk yards, rushing the ball in garbage time, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, the Walker looks good. He looked good last week. One of the few guys that looked good, and San Francisco, God, they're 2-3. Who would have thought that?
And they're still favored to win the division at 2-3 if you go on the Vegas to bet it. Geno, the Niners pass defense has not been great. They're a plus matchup here for Geno Smith. They're throwing the ball a lot, lots of weapons there at home. Like I could see Geno having another kind of blow up spot here for him for sure. He's on pace for a ton of passing yards. I mean, he leads the league right now in passing yards, I think. So I'd be normally I'm like straying away from the Niners and and stuff like that. I think in a division rivalry game, I think you want to start Geno and all of your kind of all the usual suspects there, right?
Oh yeah, Seattle's defense there's a lot of bad defenses in the NFL this year, really, really bad. And Seattle's one of them. So yeah, I start everybody you can in both teams.
Yeah. Last week was nice to see there were 6 defensive scores across the slate. So a bunch of different fantasy defenses got there. The Niners, what are you thinking? You're starting Mason. You're starting the usual guys. Nice to see Ayuk get off finally last week. But I think that I like the passing. Juwan Jennings is kind of fallen off, kind of where he should be behind the big 3 there. But I'm starting all those guys too, especially with a weak defense level like Seattle. I expect a big scoring game here.
Yeah, Jennings. Yeah, he's you thought he'd fall off. He actually had a decent game last week, so yeah, he'd be a bye week guy. I wouldn't mind putting him in if I had to.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Weapon number 4 there, like. I think finally Ayuk got the squeaky wheel treatment, and I think he's
no touchdowns for Ayuk.
I know.
And Jennings, he's just a good football player. He's a really good player now.
Yeah.
Fantasy with all those guys on the team, he's probably not a great option this week, but real good football player.
Yeah. All right, so you're starting all your usual suspects there. That should be a nice, fun, high-scoring. Hopefully, we get another good Thursday night game, just like we did last week. Game number 2, 1 p.m. Sunday. Browns at Eagles over 43.5. Decent score there. Eagles coming off a bye. Hopefully, they're getting all their pieces healthy and back rolling. AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. Good to have them back. And so, yeah, I'm starting all those guys. I expect hopefully Philly to put up big numbers against Cleveland. What are your thoughts on Philly? What are your thoughts on Cleveland? Deshaun Watson, I'm cutting because if he couldn't get off against the Commanders, he's never going to get off.
Yeah, Philadelphia might have a worse defense than Washington. Philadelphia can't stop anybody. He's going to have both his receivers back. Hurts. I mean, Barkley's had 5 touchdowns. All of them came in their 2 wins. So they're probably going to get ahead and win. So Barkley, good DFS play. He's probably going to blow it up this week. Cleveland, God, I mean, Cooper's going to be gone here before long from what I've been hearing. So,
Cooper.
They're fixing to just blow up the team there, I think.
They should. I mean, they should just take the L already. Everyone knows it's an L on Watson. You spent all that money. He doesn't love football. He doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to be there. Like, just move on and put in is it Winston over there? Yeah, throw Jameis there and let them cook a little bit. Jameis Winston always adds value to the fantasy guys around him. Speaking of Cooper, Liam made a trade. He traded Devonta Adams and Mostert for Brian Robinson, Darnell Mooney, and I'm thinking it's Amari Cooper, not Cooper Kupp, but Amari Cooper. I like this trade a lot. Adams hasn't played. He's not going to play this week. And if he goes to a team, he's going to have to build chemistry. He's probably going to be, unless it's the Bills, which I would love, he's going to go, if he goes to the Jets, he's going to have to compete with Garrett Wilson. If he goes to some other spots, he might have to compete with some other big names there. So I like this trade a lot. Mostert's already banged up again. What do you think, Jerry?
I think if you can get in a league where you trade, you can get Adams or Cooper, because once they go somewhere, they're going to get better, right? So you can probably get them cheap right now, and they're going to improve. They have to improve, right? Because Adams ain't even playing.
Right.
Right. Adams hamstring injury.
Yep. The old pre-trade hamstring injury.
Yeah, they want him out of the building. So, but they get on another team, they're probably going to be good guys to have.
Yep.
I like Cooper side on that trade, definitely.
Yeah, I like the Cooper side trade on that for sure. But yeah, so it's going to be tough here. I mean, Njoku's hurt again. Like I said, I'm cutting Watson. I mean, I guess if you had to this week, if you got some injuries and buys, I mean, you could, like you said, Philly's bad, but I feel like coming off a bye week, Philly's going to get it right. Or in a get right game against Deshaun Watson. I mean, Watson just is terrible. Any Cleveland guys you want to start? I mean, I know Amari Cooper usually gets there. He's got a lot of drops. He had 10 fantasy points, but this secondary sucks. You could see Cooper having one of those big Amari Cooper games in this one, right?
that's what he does. Doesn't do anything. Then he goes 2 touchdowns and 110 yards. So, yeah, Philadelphia can't stop the pass. I mean, it's horrible. And, Judy's played good. So, I wouldn't mind putting him in as wide receiver 5, I guess, against this team. But, the running backs, I think they're going to be way behind. So what are you going to get out of Ford?
And which running back is it going to be? It's Ford, then it's Foreman, then it's Ford, then it's somebody else. It's like, it's crazy. You can't, I know you got to project Ford for top 20 this week. I had Ford as a start guy last week in my start sit article. That kind of blew up in my face. He barely touched the ball. He got there. He barely played. He got like the last 6 carries of the game. That's how he freaking got there. He actually hit his over on rushing, but.
Well, you're not going to see Foreman, I don't think. They only put him in there when they're in the game or behind or ahead, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think Philly coming out of a bye, getting healthy, might blow the doors off of Cleveland, which could be good for Amari Cooper for sure. A little catch up spot. But all right, next game we got a little division rivalry: Colts versus Titans. What's the over under there? I'll find it, but. That's a big rivalry game there. Colts pass defense is terrible. You definitely want to attack their secondary for sure. And that's a 42.5 over for them. Richardson might be back this week, I think. And so we could get him rolling out there again. Hopefully, but the Titans have had a pretty stingy defense so far. I'd like to see Flacco for the fantasy purposes, but it looks like Pittman's out for multiple weeks here with a back injury. Go ahead, Jerry. It looks like you want to scream.
Fire up Downs. Who else they gonna throw to?
Alec Pierce. Fire up Alec Pierce. That guy had 40 fantasy points in the fourth quarter last week or whatever it was, like 30. He had no targets, then he had 30 points.
Yeah, I was reading something today. Last year they didn't have anybody that could throw deep or wanted to throw deep. And that's what he specializes in.
Yes.
This year they've been throwing deep, and he catches these bombs every week, it seems like. So, dude,
his ADOT, his average up to the target is 27.
I think
it's 27 yards. The next closest guy is like 20, and he's capitalizing. And so now, like you said, you're gonna have Pittman out for a while, which I don't hate because I have like no Pittman this season. And I've got a lot of pick up Pierce. He's available. Because I have a lot of Pierce. I dropped him in some spots this week because I had to. He got no targets the week before that. But Downs, I think he's okay. Who's the rookie there? I'm drawing a blank on it. Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah.
Adonai Mitchell. Yeah. He only ran like 12 routes, but he got like 4 targets on his 12 routes. So interesting to see kind of what he does. But yeah, I think Pierce is a guy you definitely want to look to add there. What do you think about the Titans this week in this matchup?
Well, another stat. I'm not a big stat guy, but I saw something before I got on here. Indy has the worst pass rush, the rushing the quarterback rate in the NFL. So, that might open the door a little bit to give this poor quarterback a little time to throw. And so Ridley, you could see Ridley break out and have a decent game this week.
They're the worst defense in the league against outside receivers too. So you might get a chance here. They're coming off a bye. Levis can just sit back there. I mean, they made Trevor Lawrence last week look like he could actually play in the NFL. And we know we can't. Trevor Lawrence is freaking terrible. Yeah. So he looked great last week. So Levis could come out, get the ball to the outside guys, get the ball to Ridley, get the ball to Hopkins, maybe slide them into your starting lineup, look for them to be and at least one of them to be in my start article for this Friday. But hopefully, Stu, we want to start outside receivers against the Colts because of the pass rush and because of the coverage. So
Pollard's been looking real good, so he's pretty much a must start.
Agreed. All right, next game we got Cardinals Packers. Kyler Murray looked awesome last week running the ball. This is a 49.5 over under. That's what we love to see. Lots of fantasy points, hopefully, in this one. They had a big road upset against the Niners. McBride came back, finally looked pretty good. Kyler looked good getting the ball out. And so I think the offense is going to start to click again. I will say Harrison Jr.'s been frustrating. He's either 1 point against the Bills opening day or he's 30 points in a quarter. The next game, he's just kind of been inconsistent. I feel like everything's really hard. He's like not wide open a lot. Like, I don't know what's going on there. If the timing, they're still working on that, but this should be a shootout in this game. And he's still getting, 27% target share. So he's still getting the ball thrown his way, but I'd like to see a little bit more consistency out of him.
Yeah, he doesn't look good to me. I mean, Neighbors looks like a stud.
Right.
At the eye test, Neighbors looks like a Hall of Famer, but God, to me, Harrison looks stiff. I don't know what it is.
He doesn't look very athletic. He looks,
He runs, if he gets open and look, they get him, but Neighbors looks like a different player to me. I think right now it looks like Neighbors might be the better player.
Totally agree.
Yeah, we'll see. It changes. You know how it changes.
Yep. And hopefully we'll get him back this week too. So yeah, you're starting Connor, you're starting Harrison, obviously you're starting McBride there and Kyler. So you're starting the usual guys. Michael Wilson, man, he had a decent week last week. He's been highly targeted there. And actually Dortch has like 1 or 2 less catches, I think, than Marvin Harrison does. So not to say that you want to start Dortch, but there are other weapons if you have like a bye weeks and injuries and you got to start somebody in there. I think Wilson could be your guy if you're looking for kind of a high scoring game against the Packers. What do you think about the Packers receivers this week? I got burned by Wicks a lot last week. He led them in air yards, led them in targets, but he had like 2 or 3 drops. He couldn't figure it out. I started him over the rookie for the Jaguars in a couple of leagues, and that was rushed. Yeah. Because I have a lot of him, and I was so excited. And I'm literally going through my lineup, starting Wicks, going, this is going to be going. As I'm going through here, that so excited to start Wicks, that he's
excited to start.
Suck. He's going to suck. This is never going to work. He's their best receiver on yards per target. He's their best receiver. He's going to get all the opportunity in the world. He's going to suck. Sure enough, there it goes.
Drops a lot of passes. Scott posted something on Discord. He was showing somebody had picked up like 41 shares of Juju.
I saw that.
And of course the guy probably didn't start maybe 2 or 3 of them, but I did the same thing with fucking Bo Melton last week. Because one of my problems is I never go for these guys in Fab. And I said, this year I'm going to do that. So I said, I just have this feeling Bo Melton's going to go 2 for 56 with a touchdown, right?
There you go.
What I need on a lot of these teams. So I was putting in $89 to like $209. And of course I got him in every league that I bid on him.
Yep.
Put him in every lineup, and now he's my most owned player. He didn't get nothing. I don't even think he got a catch.
No, they only completed 15 passes, and that was pretty gross. Chris Perry asked, should I start Marvin Harrison? Absolutely. Of course you're going to start Marvin Harrison. Definitely.
Always.
It's about always start. He's a touchdown machine at least. So at least you have that going for you. But yeah, so Wicks this week, I have him as like a wide receiver 3. You've got Jaden Reed. I have him as a wide receiver 1. Do you see that catch he had last week in triple coverage?
I did not.
Oh my God, it's like a deep post, and he Love just puts it out there, and he somehow comes down with it between 3 guys as he's falling to the ground. Jaden Reed's awesome. Tucker Kraft kind of coming out here, kind of a coming out party here for Tucker Kraft. I'm starting him in a lot of spots. I got him as a top 10 tight end this week. I'm starting him over guys like Kincaid, Pitts, Ingram if he comes back, and Njoku if he comes back. I think they found something there with Tucker Kraft. I think they're going to stick with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's definitely been the starter, I think, since week 1. And most people thought it was going to be Musgrave. And I was big on Kraft last year. And he's a tough son of a bitch, man. I tell you, he plays hurt. And he's a real good football player. And I think they like him better than Musgrave now. Of course, Musgrave's always hurt. But,
yeah. Musgrave's been there for 3 years now. He hasn't done shit. So it's like.
Yeah, but with all the wide receivers back in Green Bay this week, it might hurt Kraft a little bit. But he's a good football player. I think they see it.
Yeah.
And I think he's a good blocker, too. So that's why he's playing so much.
Yeah. Speaking of blockers. Wilson, the backup running back there, if he's on waivers, go pick him up. He looks good. They like him.
Good player.
If something happens to Josh Jacobs, man, which all these running backs usually miss a game or two, I think you can definitely pull off, stash and Wilson. Don't cut him to try to pick up another receiver or something. Just grab him, stash him.
Who's their third running back? I can't even think of.
It was the rookie there, Marshawn Lloyd. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. I think
Marshawn Lloyd, who I liked a lot coming. I thought he was good in college, and he just can't be out. He's like Kendra Miller. Like, he can't stay healthy. He can't get on the field as the backup. So, all right, moving on here to the next game. Let's go Steelers, Raiders, gross. This over-under, I don't even got to look. I know this is going to be a gross over-under, but a battle of two teams that can't really score. Yeah, 36.5. Oh, my God. There for the Steelers and then the Raiders. I think, I will say I am excited this week for Brock Bowers. The Steelers are actually the worst defense against tight ends by a mile. They give up 136% more to the tight end position than the average defense does. So you're going to, not that you were benching Bowers anyways, but he might be my tight end one this week, Brock Bowers, if AOC can get rolling there. So he's the only guy I'm excited about, probably on either team. But Najee sucked last week, had his opportunity. Pickens looks like he doesn't want to play. Like, they're managing his workload so they can get something out of him when he actually is out there. It's just a mess right now.
Yeah, Pickens I think he's a cancer. Yeah, I think they're looking to move on from him here pretty soon. If he couldn't do anything against that Dallas defense. I was talking to somebody, I swear I could not name a single starter on the Dallas defense going into that game except Diggs. I mean, I couldn't tell you a single one. I'm a Dallas fan. And I said, geez, how bad is – and they couldn't do nothing against that defense. So,
well, you got Fields, who's not really a passer, and not really like a good passer, in the rain, and it was just an ugly game. Ugly game. But it's like, and I will say the one play that I saw a play where they were talking about like Pickens doesn't even care. He's running this drag route across the field. Well, you're not really supposed to run those full speed. Like, you want to, it's against this kind of zone, so you kind of want to give your quarterback time. Like, that's not really the play that I would pick to say that he has kind of given up, but he's definitely an enigmatic receiver. He's super, super talented, but even at Georgia, he was kind of a psychopath. But I think you got to have him on a team that can really sling the rock to keep him happy. But if anyone, listen, the Steelers coach there, if anyone can keep, guys kind of chill, he did it with Antonio Brown for years. He did it with Le'Veon Bell for years. I think he's the one that can certainly help there, but you're probably starting Pickens because this is a good matchup for him. You're probably starting Najee because, again, he'll probably be the only back in the backfield, though, but you're not excited about those guys. Bowers is really the only one I'm excited to start.
Freiermuth has played pretty good. He's produced decent this year.
Yeah, Freiermuth has been. In fact, that game started like an hour and a half late or whatever it was last week. And Jerry, I was so tired. I'm like, I got to go. I went to bed at halftime, pissed off. I started Freiermuth over Pitts. in like 8 leagues. He doesn't have a target. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? This is so stupid. I'm gonna go to bed. I wake up, he snuck in a touchdown in the fourth quarter and say
he used to do that a lot. He scored a lot of touchdowns. Last year, I don't think he had a lot, but that was his calling card, gets a lot of touchdowns. But I stayed up and watched the whole game, and it was over at 1:00. Central.
Couldn't do it.
So it'd have been 2:00 Eastern.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, couldn't do it. So Freiermuth, he hasn't. He's a good matchup too against the Raiders. You're probably starting him. I would start him over Conklin. I would start him over Njoku, even over Engram coming back because I don't trust Engram. I mean, the guy's been out with a hamstring for 4 weeks. He missed 4 games, Jerry, warming up for the Bills game week 2.
That's how he used to be. Remember when he was with the Giants?
My God,
he was always hurt with the Giants. So and then hey, let me ask you something. What do you think about Warren? Jaylen Warren,
Yeah, I don't know if he's playing this week.
I don't think he is, but in a mid-stakes league, he was on the waiver wire.
Oh, yeah, grab him. Listen.
I had to pick him up, and I said, yeah.
Definitely grab him. I always say this, man. My thing is I never – now, FFWC is a little different because there is 3 receivers you got to start, but I never drop running backs ever because they're all an injury away. And Warren for sure. I mean, Warren is hurt now, but you can't, Najee could get banged up and Warren could come in and be awesome. So no, I'm not dropping Warren if he's available. Absolutely.
No, because I think, man, Najee, I gave him one more year this year, and man, he looked bad.
Yeah, the offense just looks terrible. I mean, as far as the running game, it's just pretty gross. But all right, moving. Let's talk about a game. Maybe we want to. Here we go. We got some players in this one. Bengals versus Giants. That looks to be a night game there. Yeah, this actually thing's bouncing all over. 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock. All these games. Bengals Giants is the Sunday night game here. Jamar Chase, man, he's been awesome. He's one of the very few first round picks that's actually doing anything. So hopefully we get a Jamar Chase versus Neighbors showdown here on Sunday Night Football. T. Higgins has looked really good since coming back. Hamstring finally gets 2 tutties in that last game. This Giants pass rush though is no freaking joke.
Yep.
They can get after Burrow and make it really difficult for him because Burrow, can't move very well. But the over-under here is 49, so they're looking for points in this game, Vegas says.
Yeah, another bad defense, Cincinnati. I mean, God, there's just so many horrifically bad defenses. Cincinnati is horrible. Now, one thing I read today, the big pass rusher for the Giants is out, I think.
Okay, well, they got a couple of them.
Number 5.
Yeah, okay. Thibodeau?
I think so. I think
Okay.
I saw he's out, and that's a big blow because he's a monster. Him and Burns, and the Giants, they look surprisingly good last week. They looked good against Dallas, but it was Dallas, and I didn't think much of it. But man, they looked like a football team last week.
That's right. Snake says, "Thank you for removing the voodoo curse that you have on T. Higgins all year." Apparently you've been cursing him. Higgins is awesome.
Oh, I hate Higgins, but he's looked pretty good this year.
Contract, but yeah, he's been.
Give him time. He's going
to. Yeah. He owes us. What do you mean? He owes us from.
And I was hearing something today that they might, if they lose a game or two here coming up, they may move him to get out.
Good. They're a team. Freaking Burrow's got 12 touchdowns and 2 picks, and they're 1-4, something stupid. Their defense is so freaking bad. But on the Giants side, Daniel Jones is the guy that's on waivers, and he's a guy I'm looking to pick up as a streamer. If you need a streamer, like you said, the Chiefs defense is bad. Neighbors is back. Wandale looks great. Was it Shepard last week that went crazy?
No,
for them?
Shepard's for Tampa Bay now.
Not Shepard. I forget the receiver that went crazy for them last week. Someone will say it.
Wandale Robinson?
No.
Yeah. Oh, Clayton.
Clayton. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Sir Slayton. Slayton. Sorry, guys. I do this. I swear. So I like Daniel Jones as a streamer, for sure. Because I got a couple quarters. I'm starting him over Trevor Lawrence. I'm willing to drop Trevor Lawrence for him. Trevor Lawrence is terrible. And so, yeah, stream Daniel Jones. Obviously, you're starting Neighbors. What's your view on the running back position there, Jerry? Because Singletary was fine for them, kind of doing his thing. He was kind of a 0 RB target for me. Singletary was. But then you get Tyrone Tracy, who comes in and looks awesome last week. He doesn't score, but he just looks way better than Singletary. But Daboll loves Singletary from Buffalo. He's not going anywhere. He brought him there. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Singletary might play this week. Last I heard, a couple of weeks ago when Dallas played the Giants, one of the things I noticed in the game was Tracy when he came in. You could tell he was hungry and he was running hard. I said, man, this guy looks pretty good. And sure enough, he got in there last week and he produced. So yeah, there's going to be he's going to be in the mix from now on. I can promise you.
Yes.
He looks like a good player.
That's a guy you might want, if you're in a league where you can trade. He's coming off a big week, but if Singletary's active, go put a little trade bet out there. Grab yourself a guy like Tracy on the cheap. And if Singletary goes down again, Tracy could be good for you. You could probably get him for super, super cheap too. So
Gray looked halfway decent.
Who did? I'm sorry?
Gray, I guess the third string running back. He did.
I actually picked him up in a couple of leagues just in case. But it's hard to kind of hold on to the third running back for the Giants. But
Right.
but what do you think of the backfield there with the Bengals? Moss kind of looked banged up. Chase Brown's looked really good the last couple of weeks. I think moving forward, I'm on team Chase Brown. He's just more explosive. I think he's a little bit younger too. And I think that they need that explosive element there. He's been getting goal line carries. I'm on team Chase Brown over Zach Moscow going forward here.
Yeah, I was at the end of the drafting season. I was picking Chase Brown a lot. I think earlier I was picking Moss, and then it started out. Moss looked better. He was getting all the carries, but Chase Brown's been coming on. He looks real good, and they're going to be in shootouts. So they're in shootouts. Chase Brown's going to produce. And I heard today coming home that Moss's injury is a foot, not an ankle. So that's not, I'd rather hear ankle, I think. Than
right. Yeah. Foot could be worse for sure.
Man, if he sits out, Browns shoots up to, top 10 possibly.
Yes, for sure. So keep an eye on that. All right. We have a game overseas, a 9:30 a.m. game here. Jaguars, Bears. I'm trying to pick up the Bears defense if they're available everywhere. 44.5 is the over under. The Bears defense is going to annihilate Trevor Lawrence. And so I'm definitely betting on that. If Ingram, so starting with the Jaguars, Bigsby looks awesome. He's within flex consideration for me. Maybe not this game, but moving forward. Evan Ingram, you probably have to start because the tight end position sucks. And if he's active, you probably have to start him. But yeah, I think the passing game right now is kind of all out of whack for them. But the rookie receiver does look really, really good.
Yeah, he's the real deal. On Bigsby, I remember week 1, I think they played Miami. We were in Vegas watching the games, and Bigsby, it looked like a different player. Last year, he was horrible. I mean, he was
terrible.
Really bad. In that first week, he looked really good. I think I was talking to Andrew or something. I said, "Man, watch this guy, man. He looks like a totally different player." And he does. He looks like Snake said the other night, he's a beast, man. And so, yeah, you could be seeing one of these 50-50 and moving to Bigsby things here pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and so for sure there, out of the receiving core, I think the only receiver that I really look to start would be Bryant Thomas. I mean, you could probably start Kirk. He's like a flex kind of guy, but this Chicago defense is really good against receivers.
Right.
And so it's going to be really tough. And, these kind of games, and it's London. These games are really wonky too, these London games. So yeah, I would kind of stay away from any of the other pass catchers there. But Chicago, they got a funky thing going on. Roshan Johnson keeps scoring, but he's not really doing much other than that. Getting a lot of Swift is kind of doing everything else. But Caleb Williams, the last 2 games has looked awesome. DJ Moore has kind of gone along with him. Adunze, you're kind of a stash on Adunze, kind of waiting for the rookies in the second half of the year. That's when they start to take off. We kind of got sucked in maybe the first couple of weeks because there was no Keenan Allen. Hey, let's start Adunze. He scores a touchdown, but let's hold our horses on Adunze right now, because right now him and Keenan Allen aren't getting enough work to be the wide receiver 3.
Yeah, I didn't get to see much of Chicago, but they say Caleb looked really good last week.
He did.
The first couple of weeks, he was just running around like a chicken with his head cut off. And I couldn't understand why they didn't call some short, quick passes. Looks like every time he dropped back, they were going deep, because he would drop back and then start running, because, they never calls any dump offs to the running back, no slants to the receivers. It's like everything was down the field. And but evidently last week they say he looked really good. I didn't get to see any of that game. But
yeah, I mean, he's looked better and better. Every single week, incrementally, just small, better. And then this last week, he looked great. Now the Jaguars have a really good defensive line, which could, turn Caleb into that looking like he has a chicken with his head cut off again. But I think they're coming around a little bit. Now I have a ton of Caleb Williams, so I'm kind of hoping that happens. But listen, the Jaguars are a smash spot so far for receivers this year. So you're definitely going to want, I mean, they're one of the best matchups you can have for receivers. So you want to start your DJ Moores. He could be a wide receiver 1 this week. And then, some flex if you have to, Keenan Allen, if you have to, Roma Dunze, especially FFWC, man, you got to start 3 receivers. You got the 2 flex. You probably find your way over to a Roma. Like I would probably start Roma Dunze over like a Lad McConkey, who's going to get more target. He comes back. He's got Patrick Surtain, who's going to be all over him all game long. Stuff like that.
Well, you think Surtain's going to be on McConkey or one of the outside guys?
I would think he would cover McConkey. Now that's something worth going to research to see if he goes inside. But I don't know that for sure. But McConkey's their best guy, I think. I mean, I wouldn't waste him on Palmer. But I guess Quentin Johnston has had a pretty decent year too. So maybe he'll move. But
one thing to remember about the Jacksonville game in England, Jacksonville goes there every year.
Yes, twice a year.
So they're used to that.
True.
So I'm telling you, that could be an advantage. So it may be something to keep them closer to Chicago than you think.
For sure.
There's a fine line between winning and losing in the NFL, and that little edge sometimes push you over the top.
And a fine line in fantasy football, my friend, between winning and losing. All right, 1:00 Sunday, Texans at Patriots. I'm so mad at the Texans right now for beating the Bills on Sunday, but fantasy wise, it's Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell season. We've got Nico Collins on the IR for a month. That sucks. After at least you got you 16 points, a little walk-off 70-yard score for him. I like all my Texans this week, especially, and now I even like getting to the tight end for them too. Without Nico Collins in, more targets to go around. So I think I kind of like starting Dalton Schultz this week if you can. New England's good against tight ends, but I think they're gonna pass enough. I'm not sure if Mixon's back yet, but I think Tank Dell and definitely Stephon Diggs could come out here and put on a show for sure. What do you think about the Texans?
Well, this game can go one of 2 ways.
Well, it's 38 over under too, by the way, 38 points.
It's either going to be an ugly 16-3 game, 16-7, or Texans are going to just blow them out, right? And if the Texans blow them out, it ain't going to be Akers, right?
Right.
It's going to be Diggs or Dell.
Yep.
Stroud. So I think this is a real good, hope that happens and play a bunch of those Texans in DFS league. Because
for sure. Yeah. If you're doing DFS, you definitely want to stack those guys for sure. I don't think everyone talks about the corner from New England. I don't think he's that good. I mean, he doesn't really scare me. But I'm looking here, they are New England's a negative matchup, but barely. They're a negative matchup for receivers. And I think with the throwing, they're going to be doing consolidated with Diggs and Tank Dell. Tank Dell's due kind of a squeaky wheel. I think he's due for a game.
Yeah.
So I think I would definitely look forward to starting him this week if he can stay healthy in that matchup for sure. The Patriots side, Ramondre gets benched last week, right? He ends up having one of his best games of the year, scores a touchdown. As long as he doesn't fumble, I think he's certainly an RB2 moving forward. Definitely a flex, especially with bye weeks and stuff like that. Houston's not a great matchup for running backs, but again, they're kind of a neutral matchup. The problem with Patriots is if they're getting blown out, unless Ramondre Stevenson's catching passes, you might not see much of him.
Yeah, they got the rookie quarterback starting too this week,
which is exciting.
Yeah, I think so too for New England players. But I sure I've been trying to pick up Houston defense anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, lots of good defensive options on waivers this week for sure. All right, Chargers versus Broncos. We just kind of talked about that game a little bit. Chargers coming off a bye. Hopefully, we get a little bit healthy of a quarterback there from the Chargers. Bo Nix had a little shouting match with his coach last week, but it was all in good fun. He ends up having a good game. A good game for them. Chargers at Broncos, 35.5 over under. Not great. Two teams that want to establish the run. Javonte Williams looked great last week. Five catches. He's been looking better and better. A guy that Snake and I have been on. Snake was definitely pushing him for sure as well in the off season. He's been unlucky with the touchdowns. Last week, I swear to God, he got in the end zone on that one. He's fallen into the end zone. He's on his back. His back is on a defensive player as he's rolling in. They call him down. Nobody reviews it. Nobody challenges it. And of course, Bo Nix falls in for a half-yard score, which was so freaking annoying. But Javonte Williams, I think, has a chance here in a game where it should be close. They shouldn't get blown out. And they could even win the game against the Chargers for sure. I like Javonte Williams.
What's the over-under in that one?
35.5.
Okay, yeah, it's probably low scoring. Javonte's catching a lot of passes.
It's saving him.
Yeah, and he looks smaller to me, thinner, and I guess quicker. Yeah, he looks like a different runner than, of course, he did last year because he wasn't fully healthy last year. But, yeah, I think you need to find out somehow if Surtain's on McConkney or if he's not. Because if he's not, there ain't nobody. Surtain is by far I think he's bypassed Sauce as the top lockdown cornerback. I mean, you can't do nothing on the guy. So if he's guarding the two outside guys and you got McConkney, they're going to feed him all day.
True. And yeah, that's fair. Another running back we like there, Dobbins. I mean, Denver's got a really good defense, but I think coming off a bye week, everyone's rested for them. The Chargers, I think they might try to pound. Dobbins has looked really, really good. Again, it's not a great matchup, but you like these games for Dobbins when you know they're going to be kind of lower scoring, ground and pound. He's going to get the ball more. He's not going to get blown out in a like in a game where they're down 20 and they have to get away from him. So I kind of like Dobbins here too.
What about Gus Edwards?
Oh God, cut God. Never cut a running back unless it's Gus Edwards. Go pick up Kamani Vidal. That's what you want to do because Edwards sucks. And if there's an injury to Dobbins, God forbid, again, Vidal I think is going to be the guy that's gonna do work.
Yeah. Funny tidbit on Dobbins. I think I posted it on Discord, but I found out last week he was from LaGrange, Texas, and I don't know, the ZZ Top song LaGrange.
I don't. I might have been before my time, Jerry.
Well, LaGrange was a little whorehouse in Texas, a little city that had a whorehouse. And anyway, ZZ Top wrote about it. But I never knew that. Dobbins was from that little town, which is pretty close to Houston.
There you go. Very, very nice. So yeah, this should be a quick game. This 405 run on both sides of the board. This game should be over in an hour. So that'll be good. All right, getting to a fun one here. Lions versus Cowboys. Here's an exciting one. Replay of the final week. Was it week 17 of last season? We had Cowboys Lions in that huge shootout. I remember for the main event for the FFWC World Championship. That was a Saturday night game, I think. And I know I had a bunch of buddies over because we had Laporta, we had Gibbs, we had CD Lamb in that weekend, and Lamb catches like that 90-yard touchdown in the first quarter, put us in first place, Jerry, for most of the weekend, but it didn't end up working out. But
yeah,
this should be a fun game. Montgomery and Gibbs coming off a bye, they should be nice and healthy in a dome. CD Lamb should get off. Everybody should get off here. Let me see what the over-under is. But are there any players, I guess, you don't like in this game? 52.5.
Wow.
Is the highest one of the week.
You cannot run on Detroit. So Dowdell, whatever his name is, guy for Dallas, looked good against Pittsburgh. Forget it.
Yeah.
Lucky to get 15 yards again. You cannot run on them. So Dak's going to throw about 50 times more than likely.
Yeah.
If they ever get the ball, you could see Gibbs and Montgomery just running it down their throat all night. But if not, if Dallas can stay with them and maybe get a little bit ahead, man, it's going to be a shootout because Detroit cannot stop the pass, and that's all Dallas is going to be able to do. So they're going to be throwing it everywhere. Now, one thing to watch, everybody's high on Tolbert, but if you remember during that game, he pulled up lame. And even after he caught the touchdown, he was limping around. It looked like a groin to me.
They said somebody said he got hit in the nuts, and then even
good.
In the post game, one of his teammates was laughing about it. He's like, "Yeah, he sprained his nuts right before the play."
I was hoping that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Because everybody's picking him up. He's going to be picking him up, and if he pulled a groin, then they don't know it. They're going to get screwed. But yeah, I was hoping.
I think that's what it was. But yeah, a lot of people are high on Tolbert. This is the type of game. Again, last week pouring rain, Pittsburgh, that type of thing. This has shootout written all over it. This is exciting, and the Lions will probably run the ball a ton, but that also opens up their pass game. Like Amon-Ra's going to eat. Yeah. Maybe a guy like Jameson Williams doesn't have a big game because he's kind of their guy when they need him, but the big deep threat guy. But I think everyone else will eat for sure, and this should be a fun game. Start all your guys and cross your fingers that you get a big showing here. Yeah.
So Detroit will score at least 35.
Ooh, I like that. All right, Falcons Panthers division showdown here. Falcons coming off a big Thursday night comeback win where everybody hit except for Bijan because he might stink. And then against the Panthers, Chuba Hubbard had a better year than Bijan for the Panthers there. Division rivalry here. This is probably going to be a fairly low scoring game. What do we got here? 47.5. Not bad for them. Are you going back to Kyle Pitts this week? I feel like I don't want to, and here's why. Because it's already hard enough for him to have one good game. But he just had it, and now you're going to go back to him, and he's going to have 2 for 18. Right. Right? Am I? Right.
You're right. That's
it. That's it. Now they're a good matchup. They're a good matchup for tight ends, but I think I would rather see Bijan get going here. To be honest with you, I mean they're a really good matchup for running backs, like the second or third best one according to the numbers here. Like, can we get Bijan rolling, please?
I think they are. I just have this feeling, and I go by gut on just about everything, and I just have this feeling they're going to get him going. He's going to have a monster game, and because if they do, then these other teams coming up are going to have to look. They got a lot of weapons, and if Bijan's rolling, then it's going to be a lot tougher to prepare for him. So I think they're going to try to get him going. And let me ask you something: the Brooks for Carolina, man, I drafted him everywhere, waiting for week 5 or week 6, and I was gonna. And I tried to get Chuba because I knew Chuba's a good player. And I said, man, if I get Hubbard and Brooks, I'll just start, Hubbard. But man, I'm getting I ain't hearing anything about Brooks.
I haven't heard a thing. They opened up his practice window. He'll be back eventually. But yeah, I mean, if I would have known week 6, week 7, like that was when he's gonna come back, like I have him everywhere too. And in when you look at your teams, like, okay, if I'm in good shape, like, okay, awesome. I kind of can stash this guy and kind of ride him hopefully at the end. But Chuba Hubbard, according to the numbers, has been one of the best running men, not just fantasy wise, but like analytics wise, yards after contact, all that type of stuff. Has been one of the best in the league. So when Brooks comes back, they're not just going to make him the starter, especially on a team that stinks. So, you almost, even at this point, you almost got to hope for an injury to Chuba. I would listen, and I have a ton of Jonathan Brooks. If I'm in a league where I can trade, I'm trying to trade Jonathan Brooks now. Maybe like when they announce he comes back, because I don't think he's going to get like the lion's share when he gets back by any means.
So it's not going to be what we thought it was going to be.
Correct.
That's what I'm thinking.
It sucks for sure.
It sucks.
I know. But hey, you're starting. Deontay Johnson, I think, was hurt. They mentioned he was hurt today, questionable. Hopefully he can get out there and play, because he's the only guy, him and Chuba, the only guy I'm really trying to look at the Panthers and stuff like that. So I would go that right. But hey, if we can get a nice scoring game, we can get Bijan. They said Bijan's been a little banged up. He's going to have 10 days to rest for this game. Maybe he's the squeaky wheel guy too, that like, hey, listen, can we get this guy going, please? He's not catching the ball. There's just nothing. He's not getting any touchdowns. He has maybe one touchdown week 1 or week 2, and that's it. I think it's just crazy. So, all right, moving on to the next one here. My Bills against the Jets. Oh God, this offense for Buffalo is disgusting. By design, right? Like they wanted no receivers on this team.
Yeah.
I don't, they went ahead and they traded Diggs, right? And they had, what money did the Bills have to bring in? Like, listen, they had months and months to trade up in the draft, or trade for a receiver, or figure it out. They could have figured out better than Mac Hollins and Curtis Samuel. I mean, they're the worst receiving core in the league. So they castrate Josh Allen, right? We don't want you throwing turnovers. We don't want interceptions, right? Well, guess what? He has 0 interceptions. Who cares? They've lost 2 in a row. He scored 1 touchdown in 2 weeks, and they look terrible. We're missing those 4 touchdown, 2 pick games now, aren't we?
Yep.
It's so freaking stupid. Now they go to the Jets. The Jets own Josh Allen, own him. They own this Bills offense. It's going to be low. If you can bench Josh Allen this week, hold on. Let me pull up I'm the Bills guy. People ask me questions about the Bills all the time. I told you the receiving core stuck at the beginning of the year. I said, I don't know what receiver it is. It's probably Shakir. It is, but who cares? I mean, I would start Kyler Murray over him, Caleb Williams. I would start Justin Fields. I'd start Goff. Might even start Geno. I'm certainly starting Stroud. I mean, Josh Allen's like, this week, I'm not starting him. I'm not starting Josh Allen. And you might not even have another quarterback on your roster. He's not running because he's got that broken fingers on the left hand. The Jets defense is really good. They're in a really bad spot, and the coach is under fire now. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. After 3 games, they were touting them as the best in the AFC, and then 2 weeks later, the sky's falling, right?
And listen, they can get out. They're not built to play from behind. They have a pass defense. Like, they're really good against the pass. Like, when Stroud was trying to come back, he couldn't do it. I think the Texans scored 3 points the entire second half until that 79-yard field goal, wherever the heck he kicked. They had 3 points the whole half. Their pass defense is really good. Their rush defense is terrible because they want to play from ahead, which is fine. But the Bills' offense is made to play from ahead. They want to run the ball, little short passes.
Yep.
Mac Hollins, Curtis Samuel, MVS. They're not meant to challenge the ball downfield, which is exactly what you should do when you've got the greatest touchdown scorer in the history of the NFL, is castrate him with that type of receiving core. So yeah, I'm looking to bench Allen. Start Cook, fine. Cook will probably do well. On the Jets side, Garrett Wilson, you're starting him, but I'm not super excited about it. The Bills have a really good pass defense. He did get 1 touchdown against them last year, like kind of a miracle on Monday night, week 1. But that's all I'm really looking to start. I mean, Breece Hall, obviously too. I'm not starting Braylon Allen against the Bills because it's a game where they're probably not going to be winning. And but Breece Hall's got to get off. Let me see where the Bills' rush defense is so bad. Yeah, they're like the second best matchup in all of football right now for the running backs. This is like a Bijan situation, right, Jerry? Right. Let's get Breece Hall going against the freaking Bills.
The thing is, can they? The Jets' offensive line kind of reminds me of Tampa Bay. They pass block good. They cannot run block. And he has nowhere to go. But they've got a good offensive line. They're just not good run blockers. Tampa Bay is the same way. They haven't had a good run blocking offensive line in a couple of years. And I'm getting to wonder if that's what's going on, because Breece Hall didn't get bad overnight. And he looks terrible right now. And so something's not right. Something's going on there.
Yeah, his yards per carry's down. I don't know. No, but you're right. The line isn't opening up holes. You just don't get bad at the running back position in your prime when you already came off the injury. You look good. Like, there's something. I think you're right. It's the blind wall. This is when you can get right again. When you play a Bills rush defense that's terrible in a game where the Bills aren't going to probably, with your defense, the Bills aren't going to run away with it, right? So you're going to be in this thing the entire time. You can use Breece Hall for sure. And so, yeah, I'm starting Breece. I'm excited about Breece. I'm starting Garrett Wilson. I'm not excited about him. I'm starting that's probably it. I mean, Kincaid, you can even bench Kincaid too. He doesn't play. He doesn't get targets. And I know he was one of your top picks, but the Jets are one of the worst defenses against tight ends. and that means something. James Cook's the only guy I'm looking to start. Maybe Shakir as a flex if he's healthy.
Well, I got Kincaid. I'm gonna have to start him. But at some point, what do you do? It's like I just don't understand that situation either. What time? When do they play? What is it? Sunday morning?
Monday night. Monday night.
Okay.
Yep. So it's Snake says get Josh Allen, Devontae Adams. Man, he would be the perfect receiver for them. The perfect receiver for the back shoulder fades and this, that, and the third. Like he'd be so good for them. They're gonna have to compete with the Jets to get him. And Aaron Rodgers runs the Jets apparently. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's gonna be a low scoring. I wonder what the over under is on that one. I can't believe I'm saying it. Like I'm the biggest. Yeah, it's 41 is the over under. I'm the biggest Josh Allen fan, supporter, apologist in the world. I've been on him. I was murdering PFF year one when they said he stunk, and I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, but you got to call it like it is, man. This team is not built for Josh Allen to score a ton of fantasy points. I faded Josh Allen. You might find him on one of my teams, and you might find him on a super flex team, something like that. But as the QB1 this year with those weapons, yeah, it looks great the first 3 weeks when you're playing the Jaguars and the Cardinals.
Right.
But now you've got the Jets, you got the Ravens, you got all these other teams, the Texans, and the Texans defense isn't even that good. He went 9 of 30. Like it's
Allen reminds me of Mahomes, right? Their offenses have changed, and
yes,
Mahomes plays on a defensive run first team now. He doesn't need to throw the ball all over the place, and he's not going to.
He doesn't. Right? But at least, like, if they were healthy, and again, this isn't a fantasy take. This is more of a fan organizational take. If they were all healthy, he's got Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, the running back. Like, he's got a ton of weapons. Yeah. If all the Bills' weapons are healthy, what do they got? Khalil Shakir.
You got him.
Nothing. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You've got an alpha quarterback in his prime. Now,
maybe the best quarterback in the league.
Yes. Now, I will say they are cap strapped. Next year, they're going to have a ton of cap space. They're going to have a ton of draft picks from the Diggs trade. I understand this isn't a death sentence for forever, but man, for fantasy this year, for the season, it's just freaking, it's gross. I can't even watch it as a freaking Bills fan. It's so freaking gross. But all right, my friend Jerry, any final parting words? That was it for this week.
Well, I think you missed the best game.
Did we? What did we miss?
Washington and Baltimore.
Oh yeah, I did. I'm just looking at that now. How did I miss that?
Gotta go or something, but yeah, because remember my buddy wanted you to talk about.
That's right.
What's your thoughts on him?
And I missed Tampa and New Orleans, I think, too.
Well, the Washington one's a big one, right?
Yeah, the Washington. All right, let's talk about those for sure. Washington, Baltimore, over 52.5. Love that game. Ravens pass defense is terrible. Got the rookie quarterback coming out here who I've got a ton of. Jaden Daniels. He can run. He can throw. He's people are saying he's like a Lamar clone type of thing. I could see this being a fun shootout game, kind of a home game for both teams. You got Washington and Baltimore there. They're both very, very, very close. Hopefully we get some good weather. But yeah, I like that to be an absolute shootout and a fun game where you're starting all your guys there. Jaden Daniels, to me, top 2, top 3 quarterback, rest away, I think. Brian Robinson was banged up last week, but still gets two touchdowns there, which is freaking crazy. I even like Eckler is kind of like a flex play there. He got like a little 40-50 yard run there last week too. And so, yeah, I mean, I like McLaurin as a wide receiver, borderline wide receiver 1. If he can catch one of those deep ones against the Baltimore defense, McLaurin's killing man coverage right now. He's doing really, really well. And then you got Ertz, man. I mean, Ertz at the tight end position is, I think, borderline startable. He's looked okay. They're really bad against tight ends there too. The only person who couldn't get off against them was Dalton Kincaid. Shocker. And so, yeah, I'm starting all my Washington guys. It was nice to see Zay Flowers last week kind of get off a little bit. You're starting Henry, obviously. You love this matchup. Washington's not great against the run, starting Flowers. And that's it. You just cross your fingers. It's like that Lions Cowboys game, man. Let the points roll.
Yeah, Washington's defense is bad too, but the last few games they've been better. But the first 3 games, they were absolutely horrible. Number 1 wide receiver scored 2 games and 2 touchdowns in the first 3 games against them. So it could be a Zay Flowers game. Now, one thing, about Daniels I wanted to talk about, I watched him the first game, every play, and he dropped back. He looked at his first receiver. If he wasn't open, he ran. He took off. I said, man, that ain't going to work. The next week, he kind of did the same thing. And when he threw, it was 5 yards in front of the line, behind the line, or right down the line, right? And everybody was saying, oh, he's 80% completion rate. Well, hell, he was throwing 3-yard passes. I mean, and then the third game against Cincinnati is when he looked really good, right? I said, whoa, this guy, he looks so much like Lamar Jackson when he runs. This jittery, you can't get him. He's calm, but notice how skinny he is.
Yes, very skinny.
If he keeps this running, you know what's going to happen.
Yep.
That body is not going to be able to take.
It happened to Lamar for years and years and years, and still could happen to Lamar again. They're very frail. They're very, very light for sure.
He's watch with him, and Lamar's a tough guy, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know how tough this guy is yet, but we'll see.
Jaden Daniels is awesome. For people in home leagues, you probably took Jaden Daniels as your second QB. If you're in a home league, you took him later on as your second QB, or you have 2 good QB. Trade your other quarterback, man. Right, Jaden Daniels is the guy you're gonna roll with every week, regardless of who he plays against, because of his rushing upside. He's got the rushing up, and he was unlucky with touchdowns. The first, was it week 2 where their kicker had 7 field goals? They were inside the 10 7 times and couldn't score. He could have even more fantasy points. So stick with Jaden Daniels, rock out with him, and hopefully he can stay healthy. Sorry, and the other game I missed was Tampa and New Orleans, another division rivalry here. Hall of Famer Mike Evans is awesome. Baker Mayfield gets – is he hurt? I'm trying to think. He gets out of it.
He's fine.
He came back. Okay, yep. So, Godwin's been amazing. He's been rocking out of the slot. Had 11 points last week. Was his worst game of the year. It's fine with 11. That's his bad. I have him as a top 10 receiver this week against New Orleans. You're starting Evans. Rashad White's a little bit banged up. Keep your eyes peeled for that. Yeah. You could get a Bucky Irving sighting. And Irving, fumbles the game away against Atlanta. That was freaking crazy. That game was over. But the run defense for New Orleans is pretty good, but they are coming off of a short week. Tampa's coming off of a long week. So I kind of like Tampa in this one. Rashid Shaheed, guy looks awesome. Guy looks amazing. He's running right. It's not just a deep guy anymore. He's running the short stuff, the intermediate stuff. Alvin Kamara, a guy I completely missed on. Is a guy. Yep. I wasn't drafting a lot of running backs in that range, and hopefully he starts to slow down because he's old, but he's getting worked to death. That's another guy. I'd pick up the handcuff there. I'd pick up. I mentioned his name earlier. What the heck is his name?
Andre Miller.
Yes. Kendra Miller, he's always hurt too, but you can get him on waivers because I don't know if Kamara can last all year.
One thing to remember, Adam, who's the defensive back for New Orleans that always
and Evans,
always fight out, and Evans struggles against that guy.
That's a great point, Jerry. He doesn't do well at all against Lattimore. So again, you're probably not going to bench him, but stay away from him in DFS.
Right.
And that would be crazy to bench Mike Evans.
No, you can't.
You can't, but just don't expect a big game from him for sure. And he might get ejected because he has before in this matchup. So, A.T. Perry was traded to Denver from Bramall. Says A.T. Perry was traded to Denver. If that's true, people remember, man, I was taking A.T. Perry everywhere with my last pick.
Yeah, me too.
But he didn't. I don't know what. It's amazing. Everyone always tells me to disregard preseason. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll disregard preseason. And then I see A.T. Perry running with the ones, and the first read in the red zone, Derek Carr drops back, looks at Perry, throws it up, touchdown. Like you'd think that would mean something. And then he doesn't play. He's not on the active roster. Like what?
Yeah.
So whatever. I'm glad to see A.T. Perry get some run. Don't pick him up yet. Wait to see what he does, and see what happens. But, all right, my friend. Listen, thanks for joining me tonight.
Sure, it's a lot of fun, man.
John, some more news here, real quick. Jonathan Taylor is ruled. I don't know if he's ruled out, but Trey Sermon missed Wednesday's practice as well, in front of waivers here with a collarbone. So it could be Goodson season. So go run back through those waivers again there, Jerry. And
Goodson's a good player.
Goodson looked better than Sermon, didn't he?
Yeah, but nobody practices on Wednesday.
Remember? Yeah, that could be. We'll see. Be nice to see Richardson get back. But all right, my friend, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun, and we'll do it again soon. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next week.